Hi guys, today we're going to take a look at pages 33 and 34 in your math book. We're skipping 31 and 32, so we're going to page 33. On question number 1, on page 33 it says, Diana worked on her science project for 5 1/3 hours. So the first thing you should do in your notebook is to take notes as you read the word problem. So write down Diana, write down 5 1/3. Then it says Gabe worked on his project 1 1/4 times as long as Diana. What does times mean? Multiply. So for Gabe, you need to take 5 1/3 times 1 1/4. Don't forget to change each number to to an improper fraction by taking 5 times 3 plus 1 and then put that on top of 3. So 5 1/3 would change to 16 over 3. 1 1/4 would change to 5 over 4. Next sentence says, Paula worked on her science project 3/4 times as long as Diana. So now you're going to take 5 1/3 times 3/4. Do that all on your scratch paper first. Then look at question 1a. Diana worked longer on her science project than Gabe worked on his science project. So look at your answers you got when you figured out the times for each person and see if that is yes or no. For 1b, Paula worked less on her science project than Diana worked on her science project. Again, look at your chart that you should have made on your paper for how long each person worked. Is that a yes or a no? 1c, Gabe worked longer on his science project than Paula worked on her science project. Again, look at your numbers, yes or no. And 1d, Gabe worked longer on his science project than Diana and Paula combined. That means if you add up the amount of time Diana worked plus the amount of time Paula worked, did Gabe work more than both of them combined? It means added together. Okay, question number 2. When you multiply fractions, a fraction is a piece of a whole. So if I take 2/3 times 4/5, your answer is going to be smaller than 2/3 because 4/5 is a number that's smaller than one whole. So when you take a piece of something, you get you end up with a piece that's even smaller. So when we're trying to figure out if it's equal to the 4/5 or greater than the 4/5 or less than the 4/5, if you multiply any number times 1, it's going to be equal to 4/5. If you multiply it by a number that's larger than 1, like if I took 5 times 4/5, I'm going to get a number that's larger or greater than 4/5. But if I multiply two fractions together, like 4/5 times 2/3, I'm going to get a number that's smaller than 4/5 because a fraction, multiplying by a fraction gives you a smaller piece. Your answer is going to get smaller. So, for example, let's do the first one together. 4/5 times 1 1/8. 1 1/8 is a number that's larger than 1. So when I multiply 4/5 times a number that's larger than 1, my answer is going to be larger than 4/5. So you would put that in the box of greater than 4/5. Figure out the rest of them, and we'll come back to it at the end. Make sure you're pausing your video to solve each problem before you go on to the next problem. Question number 3. Doreen lives 3/4 miles from the library. Write that down in your notes. Sheila lives 1/3 as far away. So 1/3 as far means you're going to multiply 3/4 times 1/3 to get how far Sheila lives from the library. Then you're going to use that information to answer 3a through 3c. Pause until you're ready to go to number 4. Okay, on question number 4, remember if you are multiplying 5/6 times a number that's smaller than one whole, you're going to get a number that is a product that is less than 5/6. If you multiply 5/6 times a number that's bigger than 1, you're going to be getting a product that is greater than 5/6. And if you multiply it by a number that's equal to 1, you're going to get an answer that is equal to 5/6. So for example, 5/6 times 4 over 4 is equal to 5/6 because 4 over 4 is equal to 1. Whenever the top number and the bottom number of the fraction are the same, it's equal to 1 whole. So when I multiply 5/6 times 4 over 4, it's really the same thing as taking 5/6 times 1, and so therefore it is equal to 5/6. Question number 5. Stuart rode his bicycle 6 3/5 miles on Friday. On Saturday, he rode 1 1/3 times as far. So you're going to be multiplying 6 3/5 times 1 1/3. Make sure you change them to improper fractions. So for 6 3/5, 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 is 33, so it changes to 33 over 5. 1 1/3, 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 is 4, so it changes to 4 over 3. So on your scratch paper, you're going to be multiplying 33 over 5 times 4 over 3 to get Saturday's distance. On Sunday, he rode 5/6 times as far as he rode on Friday. So you're going to be taking 6 3/5 times 5/6, and again, use improper fractions. Once you have the distances he traveled on each day, then you're going to use that information to answer questions 5A through 5D. Okay, question number 6. Once again, if you multiply two fractions together that are smaller than 1, like 2/3 times 2/3, you're going to get a product that is less than 1. If you multiply by a number that's greater than 1, you're going to get a product that's greater than 2/3. And if you multiply by a number that's equal to 1, like 2/3 times 6 over 6, you're going to get a product that's equal to 2/3. Make sure you've answered all 6 questions and done your work before you go on to the next part where I show you how to do each problem. Okay, so here's how to solve question number 1. Diana, you'll notice they tell us worked on her project for 5 1/3 hours. Gabe worked 1 1/4 times as much. So notice I have to change my numbers to improper fractions. So 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So I get 16 over 3 for Diana, times, and then 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so 5 over 4. So I can cross cancel. Divide by 4, I get 1. Divide by 4, I got 4. And then I multiplied straight across. 4 times 5 equals 20. 3 times 1 equals 3. When the top number is bigger, remember you divide. So 20 divided by 3, I get 6, remainder 2, so 6 2/3 miles. That's how much time Gabe spent on his project. Then for Paula, you're taking Diana's time of 5 1/3, which we already know is 16 over 3, and we're multiplying it by 3/4. I cross-canceled, divide by 3, I get 1, and then I cross-canceled this way, dividing by 4, I got 1, dividing by 4, I got 4. Then I multiplied straight across, 4 times 1 equals 4, 1 times 1 equals 1, so Paula worked for 4 hours. Once I have that information, notice I circled it. This is Diana's time, this is Gabe's time, this is Paula's time. Then I use that to answer the question. For A, no, Diana did not work longer than Gabe. For B, yes, Diana worked longer than Paula. For C, yes, Gabe worked longer than Paula. But for D, if I add Paula plus Diana together, they worked 9 1/3 hours together. That is a lot more than Gabe worked, so that's a no. Let's go to question number 2. Okay, on question number 2, notice if I multiply by 1, 8 over 8 is equal to 1. Whenever the top and the bottom number are the same, it's equal to 1 whole. So 1 times 4/5 is 4/5. So therefore, it's equal to 4/5. 2 over 2 is equal to 1 whole. So 1 times 4/5 is 4/5. So those are equal to 4/5. When I multiply by a number that's greater than 1, like 1 1/8, it's going to be greater than 4/5. When I multiply by 3, it's greater than 1, so therefore it is greater than 4/5. When I multiply two fractions together that are smaller than 1, I'm going to get a number that is smaller than 4/5. For question number 3, this is Doreen. She lives 3/4 miles from the library. Sheila lives 1/3 as far, so I multiplied by 1/3, cross-canceled my 3's, and so she lives 1/4 mile from the library. So A is yes, 3/4 is greater than 1/4. B is yes, because when I multiply them together, I got 1/4. And C is a no, because twice as far as Doreen would have been 3/4 times 2, which would have been 3 over 2 or 1 1/2. So that is not equivalent to 2 times as much. Let's look at question number 4. On question number 4, again, if you're multiplying two fractions together, your number gets smaller. So 5/6 times 2/3 is less than 5/6. 5/6 times 5/6 is less than 5/6 because both of these fractions are smaller than 1 whole. 2 times 5/6 is larger because you're multiplying by a number 2 that's larger than 1 whole. This one, again, 7 over 3 is larger than 1 whole, so you're going to get an answer that is larger than 5/6. And then if it's equal to 1 whole, like 4 over 4, you're going to get an answer that's equal to 5/6. 10 over 10 is equal to 1 whole, so 1 times 5/6 is 5/6. On question number 5, again, you need to make a chart. So this is how far he rode on Friday. On Saturday, you're multiplying these two numbers together, 1 1/3 times 6 3/5. You got to make improper fractions. So then I cross-canceled, divided by 3, I got 1. Divided 33 by 3 and got 11. Divided by 5 got 1. Divided by 5, I got 1. When I multiply straight across, I'm going to get 11 over 1. So on Saturday, he rode 11 miles. On Sunday, I have to multiply my 6 3/5 times 5/6. So again, improper fraction, cross-cancel my 5's and I got 1's. Cross-cancel, dividing by 3, I got 2. Divide by 3, I got 11. I multiplied straight across, so I got 11 over 2. When the top number is bigger, remember you divide. So I got 5 1/2 miles on Sunday. So then I use that information. A is a yes, B is no, C is yes, D is no. If you have any questions on these, make sure you email me so I can help you. Let's look at question number 6. Number 6. Okay, if you take a fraction and you multiply it by 1 whole, like 4 over 4 is equal to 1 whole, you're going to get an answer that's equal to what you started with. If you multiply by a fraction that's smaller than 1 whole, you're going to get a fraction that's less than 1 whole. So both of these are smaller than 1 whole, so you're going to get an answer that's less than 1 whole, or less than 2/3. And then when you multiply by a number that's bigger than 1 whole, like multiplying by 4 1/8, you're going to get an answer that's bigger or greater than 2/3. Okay, so that's our lesson for today. I'm going to also include a video on reviewing how to multiply fractions. Check it out.